Yes.
As you're talking about this, you're saying, I love you, please forgive me.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Forgive me.
And it's not always necessarily meant to be directed out there.
Right.
In other words, it's over here that
Good.
what you're doing is you're taking responsibility for this thing, right?
Actually, what you're doing by focusing on the parent or the person inside of you, it is inside of you. Because the picture you have inside of you, you will notice as you evolve that in your voice and speaking. As you evolve that, the picture inside of you changes. And if you're noticing the feeling inside of you as you do that, it evolves as well. So you're right, it is all about, everything is inside of us. Everything.
Right. So ultimately what we're saying is that we're not trying to fix a problem out there. You're not trying to change your mother. You're not trying to change physical reality out there somewhere. What we're trying to change is our story about it, our picture of it inside. And so that as we forgive, as we let go, as we tell a different story perhaps, then the picture over here changes, and then our projected world out there changes in response.
100% of the time, that is true. As you change the way that you hold the pictures inside of you, you change the history. You change the future. You change the present all at once. You heal the parent. I mean, I have so many letters from people that express the healing of the parent because they went through the forgiveness, and then the things in their life started changing. Of course. Again, it's like we've been talking about, it's like drinking the poison and expecting someone else to die. You know, this forgiveness thing it's all inside of us. Ultimately what you're doing is you're forgiving yourself. Ultimately.
So I read Joe Vitale's book, and where he talked about, that's where I got the story of Dr. Hugh Lynn and how that all proceeded. And it was the thing that was most interesting, or very interesting about all that, was that he did not work directly with these patients. He didn't sit down with them, he didn't like analyze them, talk to them, try to change them whatsoever. All he was trying to do was change his perception that these criminally insane people who oftentimes would have to be chained up so that they didn't kill each other or the staff, he would sit with their file, he would look at the photos. Inside, he would be doing what you said.
Absolutely.
I love you, please forgive me. And that was it, essentially, right? And so what he was doing there was, as I understood it, he was assuming that all illness in his world is his responsibility.
Oh yes.
And so when he takes responsibility and changes it over here, it changes over there.
Right. That should give us different attitudes about peace marchings and demonstrations, because it's all inside of us, every bit of it. What we resist persists. What we resist, we keep creating more of. The more we push back at something, the harder, the more difficult it becomes. The interesting part about the story of Dr. Huna is that they closed the institution. It doesn't exist anymore. And I don't know why. They didn't in some way continue that process. Hawaii certainly needs it. And it could be used in any institution with great success. Either on individuals, in the way Dr. Huna did it is very good. It might take longer than actually working with the individual, because it took him a while to do those profiles. But he worked with them. The way he connected with them, he had the picture and he had their information. He read the stories, he got into the story, some of the story of like why they're there and that kind of thing, and the kind of life that they had, so he was able to get into that energy. That's how he began to change that picture. But see, everything's inside of us. We are our brother's keeper in that respect. The valuable thing about this is that we do change history. The past changes as well. Because when we change our thought about it, our attitude about it, it changes. And therefore the future can also change. The future is fluid. It's all fluid. We think of it, past, present, and future, as being separate things. It's all one. It's all, the concept is that it's all happening at once. It's not a past and a present and a future. So when we do this with people, it works. I think there are other methods I use to do this with myself for my own energy, but it is about changing the energy inside of us. That's what it's all about. Changing our pictures about ourselves if we're doing this for a personal reason. We want to make changes in ourselves. We probably hate a part of ourselves, so we also forgive that part. We change that part, and it changes. But it's amazing. This is a simple process, and it works profoundly, and I've seen it work in countless situations. I don't know of one situation where someone honestly did it that it failed. I don't know of one situation that it failed. It is so valuable, I cannot imagine why we're not doing it more in social reform and in institutions. I mean, when we have people that are just perpetually in institutions because it's all they know. They have no other way to think. So what Dr. Hewlin did is he helped that person without even talking to them to think differently. By the way, he is a psychologist. Very interesting man, I must say. Any other questions?